Here's something I'm not really proud of, right? I've been doing drywalling for almost like 10 years and my back hurts and it's not okay. And in that 10 years, I've realized a lot of things. The truth is, when it comes to drywalling, light is our biggest enemy. To the point that when we sand, we hold the light on an angle. So I got a front door coming straight directly onto this big ass double external bulkhead situation here. And not just that, but I've got other windows around the area. Light, 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 light. But for business, okay? If you're a beginner in drywall, something like this might not even occur to you. You might just fill this external like normal. Do this side, sand, and the job is complete. But that's bad for business. Again, because of the light. So in this situation like this, I'm gonna show you and I'm gonna walk you through what I would do to prevent my work from looking like shit. Now, this is for people with common sense, and this is also directed to people that care about what they're doing. Stay tuned, I'm gonna walk you through something like this and how I do it professionally after doing it for 10 years. If you come over here, right, I've soaked 90-minute canal base compound, quick set. And it's been sitting in there for more than 5 minutes. What we're gonna do is we're gonna scrape the side, make sure that all the dusty particles are in the water, all right? In the water. I'm gonna add a little bit of water in there. I know it's dirty, but it's okay. In here, I might leave that. Now, because of what I'm gonna do today, what I wanna do is when I mix up, I wanna make sure that the gear or the mud is very runny. I'll show you why in a sec, but that's very important. See this one right here? This one is like that, right? This one is like that. That's the normal one. That's the fancy bulkhead one. Very runny. And it has to be runny because the tool we're using is this guy right here. Massive, lightweight, easy. Find it on Wallboard Tools. Shout out Wallboard. Not sponsored by them, by the way. That's what I'm using. First thing first, clearly I've done this side, first coated it, but not the bottom. So I got a little bit of funny little things in there that I don't want to go in the compound that I'm gonna be using. It may not seem like much, but those are gonna cause a lot of problems. So I'm gonna get a sanding block and I'm gonna quickly clean that. A little bit of a rock is gonna cause a problem. Nice like that, right? The gear is nice and runny. And for disclaimer purposes, it is gonna get messy. It's gonna get so messy that you think we're playing soccer. I'm gonna chuck that on there. I got a big trap. What I'm doing there is I'm just chucking it on fairly thick. For the first coat, I'm gonna use base compound. But for the second, I'll use all purpose. Now it's very important to do this part and that at the same time. This is the part where it gets very messy. I might be looking like this right now, but at the end of this video, I might not look like this. It's because I'm working. Okay. For this tool to work very well, what I usually have is that I'll have a bucket with water and the sponge inside that bucket with water. But I don't have time to go find my sponge, but I did put water on this tool right here. Then what you want to do is you want to start from the top. Because if you start from the bottom, and you make that bottom look very nice and clean and the best work you've ever done because you're just so good at it, and what's going to happen is that you're going to drop a lot of things on your finished surface. It's going to get very annoying because you will have to swipe that again. And this will never get good. Any swipe you do after you swiped it and let it sit for a little bit, it's not going to, trust me. Start from the top. True story. Okay? Now I want to make sure I'm touching over here and I'm touching this side at the same time. Because if I'm not touching, then we are not connected. And we have to be connected for you to subscribe. I'm gonna swipe it again. See how it's nicely filled? Maybe I should get that bucket a little bit closer. Now, it doesn't hurt to use two hands like I'm doing. This is 700 millimeters, okay? One hand is not exactly steady, even though I'm a very steady guy. I'm gonna get two hands in there. Now when I touch it up, make sure it's filled. Look, see that? This is base compound. I showed you an example where the base turns into a rock. The rock is bad. So if you ever fill this and it turns into a rock, you're never gonna save it. You won't be able to scrape it right. And if you can't scrape it right, you're better off leaving it like it was. Not only did you just cause problems, but you just caused problems. That's about it. Thank you for having me. Let's continue swiping. I come back here using two hands. I want to make sure that that corner is nice and tight. Clearly, when I put the big triple trowel on top of it, I'm touching here. That means I got too much gear here. Base compound quick set doesn't shrink as much as all-purpose wood. So if I'm touching there, most likely when it's dry, I'm still gonna be touching. Again, if you don't do it right this time, you're wrong. You don't wanna be wrong. Except when you're arguing with your girlfriend. When you say fuck, you just have to be wrong. Even though you're not. Okay? I don't know who made that rule, but somebody did. And they're not on the outside. Anyways, I'm gonna check it again. Right this here, I'm not touching nothing. That's okay. This is gonna undergo 3 coats, okay? So by having a little gap in there, especially with base coat, is what I recommend. You just try to avoid having a massive gap. I know I can swipe that up and finish it off, but I wanna touch up this bottom here, because I think it's been sitting like that for too long. Oh, watch out. It gets, oh, there we go. See that? We dropped it. Oh, I wanna know if I'm gonna touch or no. I'm not touching very much. So there, I might leave that, except I wanna clean up this top. I wanna make sure that top is very sexy. I wanna say like you, but my girlfriend is the one that's filming. I don't wanna get in trouble where I gotta argue and pretend like I was wrong. All right, here we go. Now, you don't wanna play with it too much, because that's also bad. You wanna play with it just enough. Otherwise it gets boring. I know this may seem like a problem, and I know for some people, you just can't let that slide. You feel like it's so nice looking, but because you have that, you have to swipe it again. You don't do it. You don't swipe it again unless you pull your big freaking trowel on and you're touching. There I'm not touching. I'm not touching. So even though I'm getting that, I will not swipe it again. It's all about self-control. Just leave it. It's okay. I grab this big trowel thing, and I put it on there, and I'm getting a massive gap before I swipe it, right in the middle. I don't want that, right? The only time you're gonna get that gap is when you've swiped it a couple of times. I'm gonna add a lot just in that center there. My tool sat down for 2 minutes, and the stuff is getting dry on it. So I'm gonna come back over here and make it wet. Anyways, sorry about that. I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna swipe it. Now for this, I told you I've been doing it for a lot of years. So my mobility is not exactly, you know. So get comfortable. Okay. You wanna tackle it. Yeah, use your knees. Okay. The face swipe doesn't mean anything. See this here? Look. Right there. It's right up in there. You see that? You gotta flick of the wrist. Anyways. I'm gonna go over that again. Okay. Because there was a lot of openage on the bottom there. I don't want to keep swiping it. Because that gappy situation I had, the point where I had to refill it, what I want to do is check it. I'm touching it. Every time you put the big trowel thingy on, it's called a swiper, but I'm not calling it a big trowel thingy because that's just what I want to call it today. When you get that line, that means there's too much gear in there. So that means we gotta swipe it again with love. You understand? Now, I didn't tell you this at the start. When you're swiping it, you gotta make sure that you're pushing it, the same push all the way through. You cannot dance with it, right? You gotta hold it tight. Right? These two has to be steady. You don't have ripples in it. It needs to be nice and flat and smooth. Right there. I will not swipe that again. I will not swipe that again. Okay? Only if I'm touching, and I hope I'm not, because I can't beat that swipe. I'll check it again. Okay, it's about the flow, right? No touching. Come on, swing top. Yup, a little bit of touch there. Ooh, ooh. I do have to swipe it one more time. Then, that's why I didn't want to swipe it again. This way it gets weird. Now every swipe is critical, so I have to be quiet. That is the last time I swipe. Okay. That's very good. I'm putting it on there and I'm not touching. And that's it. Okay. So this right here is done for now. What we're gonna do from here is that we're gonna scrape it, we're gonna mix up all-purpose and repeat that process, right? And the reason why I use all-purpose instead of 90-minute quick set is because the way that the mud sits, 90 minutes into a rock, and when it becomes a rock, you can't smooth it out. So I only use that first step to fill as much as possible because it doesn't shrink, right? Which is also why I made sure that I'm not touching. That way I come back with all-purpose, I fill it again, overfill it a little bit, but I can always send it back, and then put on top coat to finalize the deal. It needs to get to the point where you put that big trowel thingy on it and it's flat after you sand. You understand? That's pretty much it, man. Okay? Also, another thing is that's why you gotta make sure that you scrape it properly and that you're not getting rocks and dives and stuff in it, because as you can see, that looks very ugly. Professionals do it like this. I don't like the easy way, I like doing it the right way. This is the only way to do it if you care about what you're doing, especially if it's your house. You understand? Subscribe, follow, comment, share. Tell me exactly what you think about this video, my G. Yeah, check out the training course in the description below. I appreciate you, my G. Adios and peace out. Two love. Supposed to say one love shit.